From the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel, this is a Tropical Weather Update.
Hey, Fred Gossage here on this Wednesday afternoon of October 8th, 2025 with the afternoon update to your tropical weather update here. And we're going to do things a little differently this afternoon. We're doing some audio equipment upgrades in the Weather Center studio. So I'm going to be back in my office space doing my weather shows for this afternoon and evening. So we'll get right to it here and talk about the tropics. And we do still have Tropical Storm Jerry on the map here. Here's a tropical weather outlook for the next 7 days. And you see Tropical Storm Jerry in the central Atlantic. You also see we still have that little 10% area in the Bay of Campeche being highlighted, but not expecting that to develop. Even the National Hurricane Center says that the little window that there was is closing now, so I'm not really sure why they even left it on the outlook for this afternoon, but not expecting that to have the opportunity to develop before it moves into Mexico here over the next 6 to 12 hours, so we won't focus on it any further. We're going to focus on Tropical Storm Jerry out in the central Atlantic, and we'll take you to the tropical satellite here. And Jerry's been running into a lot of wind shear. That has shunted the thunderstorm activity off to the east and the southeast of the low-level center of circulation here. The low-level center of circulation outrunning a lot of the convective thunderstorm band, so not very organized today, but despite that, the winds have increased a little bit, somewhat surprisingly. We'll take you to the late morning advisory here. Well, this is the early afternoon advisory now that we have watches and warnings in effect for the Leeward Islands. They do these updates every 3 hours instead of every 6 hours. So as of just an hour ago, 1 p.m., well, as of 2 hours ago, 1 p.m. Central Time, as of when you're looking at this now, it's 2 hours ago, we had maximum sustained winds at 60 miles per hour, still moving west-northwest at 23 miles per hour. So the low-level flow, as strong as it is, out of the east-southeast, and then we have stronger southwest winds aloft. There's a lot of wind shear with this, so I'm honestly surprised it's been able to strengthen like this. Pressure is at 1,000 millibars, and here's the latest track. Still expecting it to become a hurricane, but it may not do so until we get it north of the Windward Islands. Now, there are the Leeward Islands. Now, there are tropical storm advisories there because we think some of the outer rain bands may cause some tropical storm force winds, but the center of circulation will stay to the north and the east of the islands. And then notice the track for the rest of the weekend. The weekend recurves northward in the open Atlantic, just like the vast majority of these systems so far. We're going to have a big low pressure off the east coast of the United States. That will have a big weakness in the ridge, so we actually expect this to turn northward and stay to the east of Bermuda. So from this tropical system, we don't expect any direct impact to the mainland United States at all. The impactful system on the east coast this weekend will be a frontal type system similar to a nor'easter. It won't have any tropical characteristics related to it, and it's not related to Tropical Storm Jerry. Just want to make that clear. Elsewhere across the Atlantic, we have a lot of frontal activity and thunderstorms tied up with the upper level low just north of Hispaniola, and the frontal system extending through the central Atlantic. Because that's tied with the fronts and the jet stream, that doesn't have the slightest chance of becoming tropical in nature. We'll go back and look at the west coast of Africa. There is some thunderstorm activity there, nothing organized, and we're now starting to get farther away from the time of year where we expect systems rolling off the coast of Africa to have better chances of development. That window is starting to close now as we approach mid-October. Can't completely rule it out, but the chances are significantly decreasing the farther we get into the month of October. We have Jerry on the board now, so the next name on the list is Karen, then Lorenzo, Melissa, and Nestor. I do think there's the potential for a couple more storms before we end the season, but we're gradually shrinking the window of opportunity, and we're running out of time for too much more in the way of development here across the Atlantic Basin, which is certainly good news. The first part of October, we usually still see a few to even several systems in some of our more active years. But once we get past about mid-month, things drop down dramatically, historically speaking, and then it's much less active usually in November, although there can still be a couple of systems. The Atlantic hurricane season officially comes to an end at the end of November. That's the latest here from the Tennessee Valley Weather Center. Our next regularly scheduled tropical weather update will come tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Central Time. You can watch that right here on the Tennessee Valley Weather Channel.